Think back to a year ago. Christmas Eve was upon us, and the promise of a beautiful Christmas celebration was fast approaching. Many were looking forward to new beginnings, as 2020 was just around the corner. We started 2020 in a big way here at St. Pius. Less than 3 weeks into the year, we launched our Rise and Shine message series, with an ambitious goal of recruiting more than 50 new ministers in ministries of welcome. Whether greeting people in the parking lot, tidying up after Mass, welcoming visitors and parishioners alike into the building, or answering questions through our welcome desk. We knew that to fulfill the mission Christ gave us, to love God, love others, and make disciples, it was time for something new. In February, nearly 80 parishioners stepped forward to offer their time and talents in these roles at our first annual Ministry Commitment Weekend, and we began the process of training and scheduling those desiring to minister to our community in these new ways. March started off with excitement for something different, the launch of our new ministries with a celebration and community social time planned. But circumstances in the world had something different in store for us. After only 1 weekend, public health directives ordered churches, and just about everything else in society, to close for the sake of the common good. It was a blow to those of us who had worked hard to start something so valuable, but it was also an opportunity for us to begin to serve our community in a whole new way. As we were no longer able to meet in person, we quickly began to move to online communications to keep the community informed. In the middle of March, the first mass email to our community was sent, the beginnings of our weekly digital bulletin in place of our paper bulletin. By the end of March, we had begun to live stream Mass and put in place the infrastructure to share the gospel message with those who couldn't be with us. We also began to record and post daily reflections 4 days a week as an opportunity to keep our community connected to the gospel message. April saw a vastly different Easter celebration.
Happy Easter from the Quaker family. He is risen.
The beginnings of a prayer group tasked with praying for the intentions that began to pour in, and a group of parishioners begin to call some of the most vulnerable in our community to check in with them on how they were doing and how we could be praying for them. Government wage subsidies allowed us to keep staff working full-time through the midst of everything, which meant we could continue changing lives through our ministry. Our children's liturgy program moved online.
Hi friends, thank you so much for joining us today. This is very exciting for us here at St. Pius. It is our first ever digital, children's liturgy or whatever you want to call it. It's the chance for us to continue spending some time with you. Even though we can't see you, at least you get to see us. And I am going to be joined today by Megan, who you might recognize from our 11 o'clock children's liturgy team. We're going to be running something that looks a little bit like our children's liturgy program, but with some differences. And we're going to be doing this every week from now until who knows when, until we're back together at the very least, friends. And I'm excited that we're going to have a few changes.
And several parishioners stepped forward into a whole new realm, acting as digital hosts to welcome those joining us for our live-streamed masses. May was a busy month as we began to prepare for Father Andrew's move to Cambridge, Anne's impending retirement, and the arrival of Jonathan Reitzel, our seminarian.
Greetings to the community of St. Pius X Parish. My name is Jonathan Reitzel, and it is my privilege to have been assigned by Bishop Crosby to be with you this upcoming year.
We also knew that it was time to start planning for how we would welcome people back into our building when restrictions were eased. Our goal then, and now, was the safety of our community and maintaining a welcoming spirit. June saw the joyful return to Mass in the building, and the move of our weekday Masses to the evening, which allowed for the participation of many who simply couldn't make 8 o'clock a.m. Mass work. We felt blessed to be connecting with our community in person, and to be able to provide the chance for many to receive the Eucharist for the first time in months. July saw an explosion of activity as Father Andrew departed for St. Ambrose in Cambridge and our office reopened. Due to an increasing number of parishioners returning and visitors joining us, we added an 8:30 a.m. Mass and began catching up on sacramental celebrations. Baptisms and First Communions returned, and we joyfully welcomed nearly 80 First Communicants for the first time over the next month and a half. During the month of August, we celebrated the feast of our patron, St. Pius X, welcomed 8 new members to our community through the rite of Christian initiation of adults, and celebrated the last of our first communion masses. A few parishioners stepped forward to help us run our live stream, and one stepped forward to take on the challenge of helping us edit and produce our video content, notably the weekly children's liturgy program and this very Christmas live stream. In September, our long-serving secretary Anne retired, which saw 6 parishioners volunteer to step into an office host ministry role, serving their fellow parishioners, the broader community, and our staff with their talents and time. As a staff, we began to think how the transition to colder weather would require us to adjust how we welcomed people to our building, as well as what it might mean in terms of coronavirus numbers. By October, we were thrilled to be relaunching our welcome desk, with a lot of work to keep these ministers busy. Confirmation preparation got underway, and we began the search as a community, including with our confirmation families. With the help of nearly 20 parishioners who stepped forward to minister to these young people and their families, including one joining us online from Florida, we were able to quickly pivot to an entirely online confirmation preparation process for more than 50 candidates and their families, something we had never even dreamed of trying before. As we journeyed through the search together, we began to hear stories of changing lives amongst the parents and the candidates themselves, relationships newly brought to life between candidates and parents, lively conversations around the dinner table, and questions about faith. A number of parents commented on how this really challenged them to consider their own faith journey, what they believed, and how they engaged with the Christian community. What were we thinking about most as a staff? Christmas. We knew this year was going to be different, and we wanted to ensure we could serve you as best as possible. We began meeting regularly with groups to work on planning the logistics of our in-building Christmas celebrations, our online ministry, and an outside decorating plan. Several parishioners came forward to offer ideas and their hard work to make today a reality. November saw a message series on the steps, serving in ministry and missions, tithing and giving, engaging in small group communities, practicing prayer and sacraments, and sharing our faith. We launched a few supports to help you on this discipleship journey, including a daily prayer devotional email and the 7x7 small group focused on the search. We also launched our first annual Stewardship Sunday, where we were invited to prayerfully consider our gifts to the parish over the coming year and, rooted in Scripture, consider what God asks of us. We ended the month with the beginning of Advent and the launch of our Angel Tree campaign. December saw an incredible response to our call for content to create this live stream experience, including nearly an hour of unique content from more than 50 parishioners and families. The Angel Tree campaign collected more than $7,500 in donations, with more than 2 weeks to go, enough to help provide gifts to approximately 250 children this Christmas, who may have otherwise had to wake up Christmas morning without presents. We were able to decorate the outside of the church more than ever before. For the first time, we launched a Christmas Connection Kit campaign to bring the joy of Christmas to those who can't join us in the building. And the youth of the parish created Christmas cards for those in long-term care and retirement homes. This past Monday saw the installation of a new camera system, which will allow us to bring you a better live stream experience in the months to come. So, why are we looking back at this year? 2020 has, after all, been a tough year for many, and it's easiest to focus on the negatives. But the Advent and Christmas seasons are a time of anticipation and hope, and we know that in the midst of the darkness, Christ brings light to the world. This year, we have been able to serve this community in so many new and exciting ways, and that's thanks to you. Thank you for the gifts you have shared with us this year, the gift of your time to serve in ministry, even if it meant stepping out into something new. The gift of your participation in the community, online or in person, in whatever way you were able to join us in prayer. The gift of your financial support, whether in person, online, or by mail. Christ told us to change the world, and in the midst of the darkness of this year, we have been able to do that thanks to you. In 2021, we look forward to continuing to serve the community of Brantford as Jesus asked us, by loving God, by loving others, and by making disciples.